Well, hello everyone. If you are new to this channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find this video helpful in your journey in astronomy. If you are returning to this channel, welcome back. I hope this channel and this video continue to help you in your journey in astronomy. Today's video, I am going to talk about how to select a telescope. But I'm not going to talk about, at least in this video, about focal length or aperture. I am going to focus on size. The size of the telescope or whatever you're using to observe the night sky. Because the most important thing to me when it comes to telescopes, when it comes to astronomy, is actually going out and observing the night sky. And if that is inhibited by the fact that the equipment is too heavy, is too cumbersome to take out, then you're not going to get into the hobby. You can have the perfect telescope, you can see planets clearly, you can take pictures of galaxies and nebulas and very, very sharp, and you can post them on Instagram or Facebook or social media in general. But if the telescope or your option is too cumbersome to take out to the night sky, then it's worthless. So in today's video, I am just going to talk about, in terms of size, the options that you have to observe the night sky. The first option is the most obvious. Your eye. You don't need a telescope. You don't need any pieces of equipment. You can go out and you can observe the night sky. You can see moons, you can see the Milky Way, you can see planets, although they'll look like a star. But just going out and just, if that's your only option, just going out and looking at the night sky, that is a great way to just start getting into astronomy. And if you go to a star party, you can use other people's telescopes, and they're basically doing all the work, and you can just go out there and observe the night sky. Now, if you're interested in taking pictures, the cheapest option and the easiest option, well, I don't want to say cheapest, but the easiest option to carry around and go out and take pictures is your phone. Yes, people do use their camera phones to take pictures of the night sky. Now, they might not be the best pictures, but it has been done. And it's lightweight. Most people carry their phones on them. It's not cumbersome, and just get you out there and just take pictures of the night sky. Another option that you have in terms of size, and you can see how large or heavy the equipment is, binoculars. People do use binoculars to observe the night sky. Not necessarily take pictures, but to observe the night sky. It's basically two telescopes. And yes, there are binoculars that can get extremely heavy, because again, it comes back to aperture and focal length. But if you just want to go out and observe the night sky, you can use a pair of binoculars. They can be really useful and helpful and allow you to see some objects, especially if you go to a dark site, which basically means you go out to a place that doesn't have a lot of light pollution, and you can really see a lot of the stars and astronomical objects that are washed away because of city lights. But binoculars is always a good option. If you cannot carry a telescope, or moving a telescope is extremely difficult. The next option, or another option that you have, is a DSLR camera. Now, this comes into play if you're interested in astrophotography. In fact, a lot of astrophotographers use DSLR cameras over telescopes. It's extremely small, and you can carry it around, and then as you get different lenses, it becomes a bit more cumbersome. But in this case, you're only limited into taking pictures. If you just want to go out there and observe observe the night sky, this probably isn't your best option, but it is an option. You can see how at least this particular camera, this is EOS Rebel T71, and it's nice, fits in the palm of my hand. Just another option that you have when it comes to getting into astronomy. Now, the fun part, or at least for me, telescopes. I recently picked up a refractor telescope, so I haven't actually got it out the bag yet. But as you can see, how small it is, how lightweight and easy it is to move around. And it comes in at least this particular one, comes in a case that is easy to carry around. Now, as I'm talking about the size and showing how heavy they may or may not be, as everything is in astronomy, there are always pluses and minuses. So just be aware of that. And just to remind you that this video is just about displaying the sizes of different telescopes. And it goes up, and just a general view of the size of the different telescopes and your options as it relates to getting into astronomy. The next telescope that I have, and as you know, in one of my videos I talk about this in more detail, my Shizmet Cassegrain. My Nexstar SE8, and I've already highlighted the pro and cons of it in another video, but as people who've watched that video, or if you haven't seen that video, this is my favorite telescope. Why? Because it's the jack of all trades. It's not too light, it's not too heavy, it's easy, relatively easy to carry around, it's not cumbersome, and the only downside to telescopes comes back to other things such as your mount, what you're interested in observing, and as you go up in aperture, and I told you I wasn't going to go into aperture, but I should highlight it. The aperture is basically how wide your lens is in order to capture light. And I'll talk about that in another video as I go over the telescopes again. I just want to show you the different sizes of some of the options that you have when it comes to astronomy. So that is my Shizmet Cassegrain. And now I want to show you my largest telescope. Now, a lot of people will not be interested in this telescope because it's my 13-inch Dobsonian. 13 inches, again, the aperture, so it can capture a lot of light when I use to observe galaxies or nebulas. But there's a huge catch to it. And the catch is, as you see, it is a big telescope. It is a big telescope. It is a huge telescope to carry around. Now, this is only part of it. I still have, this is just the tube. I still have to attach this part of it in order to actually observe things out of it. This is where my eyepiece will go. And then I have to attach the mount. So it's a really, it's a really long process using this telescope. Now, the exchange is I have a lot of aperture. So I'm able to get good viewing images of galaxies or nebulas or objects that really don't generate a lot of light. But that's the downside. So I hope this video was helpful for you as it relates to if you're new to astronomy and you're just being able to see the different sizes of telescopes. As you go into the field, just remember that when it comes to telescopes, it has to be used. If it's not being used, then it's worthless. And therefore, yes, you can get a telescope with a lot of aperture. Yes, you can get a telescope that will allow you to take wonderful images of stars, planets, nebulas, galaxies, the Milky Way, the moon, the sun. But if it's never going to be used because it's too cumbersome to move around, then it's not worth the effort. It'll just be sitting there. And therefore you want to get a telescope that will allow you to actually go out into the field at night and observe. And therefore I hope that this video just shows you that there are plenty of options. And people have used all these options to observe the night sky, observe different objects, take pictures of different astronomical objects. So people have taken wonderful pictures using the cell phone. People have taken wonderful images using a DSLR. People have taken wonderful images using my Schizmecassogram or Dobsonian or any. If there is a tool that will allow you to observe the night sky, someone was able to take wonderful pictures of astronomical objects using that particular tool. So therefore, don't worry about, wow, I'm using all I have is my iPhone. I can't take pictures of astronomical objects. Yes, you can. People have done it. There are ways to do it and do it well. And then you can still observe things with your eye, especially if you go to a dark site. You will be surprised at what you can see just using your eyes at a dark site and what you can observe just using your eye. So therefore, I hope this video was helpful. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave a comment if you have a question, if you want to provide your feedback. If you notice on my other videos, I will respond once I get a chance to look at it. It doesn't matter if it's a positive. It doesn't matter if it's a negative. If you have a question, I will either answer it or I'll try to find the answer for you. Thank you very much, and I will see you again.